Unique New York.
Unique New York. Unique New York. Ow now, brown cow.
These needles need to...
Yeah.
I forgot how that one goes.
The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. All right.
Red leather, yellow leather.
Yes.
The classic.
Hello! The Sonic City Council is now in session. Thank you once again for inviting us into your headphones, your car, your home, your mind. We appreciate you very much wherever you may be listening. Davey Sipes.
Jesse Davidson. I said
man.
it normal because I ran out of things to say.
Yes.
And welcome back. We tolerate you technically. This is Sonic City Council.
Yeah, and you know what that's time for?
No idea. Oh, you're going to use a little hammer to hit the wooden thing.
I always hit
Is that a new thing that you wanted to do?
I always hit the little
Really?
thing with the hammer.
Guys, write in the comments if you ever does that. I've never seen you do that. I like that it's here, but I've never heard or seen you do that.
This is a French implementation. It's called a gavel, and I hit the little piece of wood with it.
Well, bonsoir,
Bonsoir,
mon ami.
mon ami. Yeah.
We doggies. What the hell are we doing here?
We're having a conversation with our good buddy, Omar Ruiz. And he is a solo singer-songwriter in our Antelope Valley music scene. He's been a part of it for many, many years. He's a dear friend of mine, and I love touring with him. I love just, being around the dude because he's got like a nice, solid, positive energy. So
100%. I've known him less personally and much more tangentially in the scene around town.
Very tangential.
But we have been at the same shows and played the same shows, and I've always been like, what a wonderful guy. He's got a good vibe. You can tell just like,
Yeah.
the little bit I have talked to him. So
Yeah.
you want to talk to him and be friends with everybody like you are? Okay.
Yeah.
And I got to pick on you because I'm insecure like I am.
Yeah, I want to renew that friendship.
Yeah.
It's like, sort of like wedding vows. I got to, keep things going with me and Omar,
wedding vows.
Well, just like,
Well, you take things serious. I get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and also.
So and also.
My
favorite segue phrase of all time. So and also.
Yeah.
Hey, listen.
If you want to know how the
that.
inner dialogue of my brain works, so and also.
So and also.
We are having another historic Sonic City moment within our council chambers history here. Yeah. Oh, I was about to sing another song that actually is a song, and I don't want to do that in fear of the copyright bots that are always lurking in the shadows.
Just stop in a weird spot.
Yeah.
Or then say that you hate the song, and then we're fine.
Yeah.
Just like, song.
But speaking of songs, not to get derailed.
Are you not going to do it?
No.
Okay, and you don't have to.
Yeah, well.
Fuck you guys for
because
expecting it,
I don't
okay?
need to sing today because our guest Omar Ruiz is going to be singing and playing a song today live here in the studio. Our first ever musical performance on the Sonic City Council happening today.
For reals?
For reals. We already
Ermiger.
Right. We already had our Yuri Gagarin moment on the couch, right? So Nikhil Karula, if you recall our past guest, he was the first in person.
The near orbit.
Yeah, he was the first one into space, right? So it's like he was the first one to actually sit on the couch in person, aside from the round tables.
Where you're sitting now, as history proves.
And Omar will be the second in-person guest, first musical performance on this show. So very exciting.
I'm stimulated.
Yes, so I'm almost overstimulated. So let's get into it. But first, quick shout-outs. Thank you to Amped Music in Lancaster, California, for helping us put this podcast together.
But also the damn Showcase Theater.
Yeah. So,
coming soon, a virtual reality experience that you've never lived through before.
Yes. Click the link in the description.
Above or below.
Yeah. To find out more. And also, if you want to grab some lessons from Mr. Davey over here.
Just clutch them.
Yeah.
Get your little golden fingers. Just climb over and just grab a lesson.
Yeah.
I'm alone on this bit, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah, it's fine. So anyway, always got to give them a quick thank you. Like, comment, subscribe, share.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
There's a weird presence in the studio.
Yeah, I
feel like I'm haunted.
No, is our guest here? I think our guest is here.
He's been
I
here.
feel a disturbance in the
feel
force.
a disturbance in the force.
Yes.
What were you saying?
I was just going to say, give our thank yous and our like, comment, subscribe, usual spiel. And now, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, we're off and rolling, and we have our second in-person guest on the couch joining us today, and he is Omar Ruiz.
Hello.
Oh.
I'm Omar.
Yes. Omar is one of my favorite people to tour with, and he is also somebody that has been a part of the Antelope Valley music scene where we record these for many years, and he's just an all-around good musician, good performer, good dude, and
came
in today to chat with us. So we thank you for being here, Omar.
Yeah. Sorry, no, it was just the nice things. I haven't had anyone say nice things about me in a while. So I'm just like, wow, really?
We're both on.
Yes.
I do miss touring with you. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was probably the funnest thing of the whole experience. It was like...
Was this the Portland leg of the tour?
No, you didn't go with us for that, but I was going to say, that was when I went up to Portland with Rogue, my band, and then that was with Janelle and Marlon, and then Peter McGuire did that. But I've been with you a couple other times, just like for weekend stuff or
Weekends.
At Bernie's.
Weekend.
We would play for a band very short, briefly together.
Yeah.
Very brief.
Yeah, and and just got to know Omar pretty well and all of his goofiness and eccentricities, and it just became one of my favorite people to be stuck in a confined space with. So so the couch is just
That's saying a lot.
Yeah,
So, it does say a lot. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Wow, dude.
Everybody has a time limit for which they can deal with that sort of close contact.
Well,
that's just real.
Yeah, and I would say vice versa too. He didn't get sick of me. I didn't get sick of him, and here we are.
No.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, oh, cool. Out of everybody I toured with, I was like, oh yeah, I could do this some more.
Yeah. Same. Absolutely.
And we did actually. We took, we weren't in a band setting together, but we were in our own individual bands touring together a few times. We went to Vegas, and actually it was Vegas most of the time.
Can we get some specific band names? I want some goddamn details
Well,
about this tour,
he
boys.
performs under his own name.
I'm literally
Omar J. Ruiz Esquire, right?
Esquire. Ooh,
Esquire?
I like that.
Oh my God.
Omar
I just saw his
Esquire.
eyes light up.
No, I've been trying to think of a name for so long, and I know my name is Omar Ruiz, but I've been so sick of performing.
That's pretty much the winner.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, bro. I'd be like, can I borrow your name for my acting? Like,
You
for my
like
casting
my
calls?
name?
Yeah, I mean, they won't believe me, but I'd be like, yo, I'm Omar Ruiz.
Are you being serious, dude?
Bro, that name is money. It sounds like you're from everywhere, which is kind of like me, because it's like, I should have a Spanish surname, but I don't. I got some Arab in me, and Omar's Arab. I'm like, homie, I'm with that.
Hey.
I'm with that, bro.
All right, Arab brother. Hey. Yeah, because my mom, she got the name from a Spanish soap opera artist, but Spain and the names and the way they travel, it was like,
there's always that connection.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Spain and
there's Spanish cities in Morocco and shit like that.
See, there you go.
Did you know?
I did not know that.
Well, you schooled us on the Dutch guy who can hold his breath. Real good.
You guys missed it.
Which we will get back to later.
Shout out to Wim Hof.
Hof.
That's the dude.
Now the name is clicking. It's Wim then Hof. It's not a last name. It's Wim Hof.
Wim Hof.
Yeah. WIM space HOF.
Google it.
Yeah.
Google it.
Citizens know how.
Yes.
They're so smart.
Yes.
They're so
I'm glad you brought up some of the history with your mom and like all that stuff, because I kind of wanted to get the from the infancy, from the beginning. Like,
no way.
What drew you to playing music? So.
Oh fuck, you guys are gonna laugh, dude. I love telling this story.
Yeah.
Because I started playing music when I was like 7 years old. But the reason why I started was because I was watching this episode of The Simpsons.
Okay.
And I saw Lisa Simpson play with Bleeding
Gums Murphy.
There you go, Bleeding Gums
Wow.
Murphy. Dude, and I remember just that episode and thinking, I want to play saxophone. So I did. I joined a little jazz group in my elementary school when, the schools had money.
Yeah, I was a bad clarinet player, too. I get it. Yeah.
Rest in peace, music.
Yeah,
Rest in peace,
I was
music
an awful
programs.
clarinet player.
You played clarinet in elementary? Okay.
Yes, sir, I did.
Yeah, I was okay at saxophone. I was the only person who wanted to play
They didn't
sax.
let me near any of that shit. They're like, hey, percussion kid, here you go.
Yeah, no, I was
Hit the
yeah.
snare now. Okay.
I think that was a SpongeBob influence for me,
What's that? The clarinet?
Yeah, Squidward.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. That's how you got influenced. But it was all
Yeah.
cartoons. What about you?
All
Was it a cartoon?
Was it cartoons? No, it was like, my dad was a drummer, so he's always dragging a toddler to places and like setting me up at like, sound arena and places like that. And I would watch them rehearse and I was little and I was like, ever since I was in diapers, I was like, this shit looks kind of cool. Okay. These guys are always partying and music looks like fun. Everybody's always smiling. So yeah, then I started just hopping on the drums and shit. That was about it. But I have to say a lot of shit like that influenced me too. Probably more movies than cartoons on the music side of things.
Okay.
So. Like the Crossroads shit hit me hard because I'm an 80s kid. So when I saw that, I was like, I didn't even know there was something besides Karate Kid with this motherfucker. And then there's Crossroads and then Steve Vai. I knew about Steve Vai. I didn't even know Ralph Macchio's name, but I was like, Steve fucking Vai is in a movie, you guys. For real.
Yeah.
And I would watch this and be like, God damn, I want to play guitar.
Yeah.
So I remember that was one thing.
Okay. Yeah.
But God damn it, this is the Omar Ruiz start.
Yeah.
The
No.
70s.
I was just interested because
You're
it was
a mere
like
tadpole in the lake.
Yeah.
It set the scene.
Yeah. You're
So
watching
you're
The
a
Simpsons.
saxophone player. You're in
Yeah.
the band. You're progressing. Let's pick up there.
Let's pick up from there, okay? Because it's a long story. It's a long story.
Well, we got time, sir. We got time.
Good. So yeah, it started. I started as lead sax in this like jazz group or jazz orchestra band, and Mr. Gonzalez was my teacher, and this is something he said back then, and nobody listened to him, but he was like, "Hey, your boy has got a gift, Olivia. You should never let him quit. You should make sure you like nourish this gift and like and do all the stuff." And Mom was like, "That's a great idea." So she went up to my dad at the time. I know, all right. That's what my mom sounds like.
Mom, really?
But she actually no. She sounds more like es una buena idea. Déjame hablar con Jaime y ya después vemos. Okay? That's what she sounds like more.
Fair enough.
But she went and talked to my dad, and she was talking about getting me like at the time I think a good Yamaha would have been like $2,000, and my dad was like, "Nah, man, he'll just leave that on the floor like his toys and just not pay attention to it." So music actually was absent after that point. After like the jazz group thing like was over, I had to go to middle school.
This is the second act turn.
I know, it's sad,
This is
right?
when
I told you.
You're walking in the rain already. What are you, fucking 8 years old right now? And you're walking in the rain?
I was 10,
10?
so this would have
Okay.
been 5th
That's
grade.
what I
No,
thought.
11. I would have been 11.
Okay.
Because it was, that's when it was ending, and he was like, "Hey, you got to make sure that he continues this, please."
Yeah.
And Mom was like, "Yeah, sure." But no, they had their own issues, but beside the point. So I didn't do anything in middle school because I was a little bitter. I was like, "Oh, okay, no one really cared." So I was like, at that point, I was trying to figure out something else that would get somebody's attention.
Right.
And then high school happened, and then I really forgot about like just things because it was like, oh, I'm trying to figure things out. I know the story gets better.
What'd you figure out though? What'd you figure out?
Yeah.
Like, what are you listening to during this time when you're not playing?
Oh, dude! So get this, man. No. This is the best part of the story.
Oh, Christ.
No. This is the best part because all the while, like, I'm like this closeted nerd. Like all the while, like because again, I'm super into like anime and like orchestra music and like I was into rock and the people around me were very much like what's the word? They would look at me and be like, "Oh, aren't you Mexican? Shouldn't you be listening to this, doing this?" So they're incredibly judgmental. I went to AV High School. Sorry, I should have.
For all the local listeners.
That's all right. We love a
that's
good name drop.
Yeah.
You know, I've never said anything bad about the AV ever. You can put that in the bank. Roll it.
Yeah.
No, because I was like, AV High School at the time was very, it was very segregated and all of that, and they saw my last name and they put me with all of the Spanish speakers, because they saw my last name and thought, oh, you can't speak English.
They put you in fucking like
English learner
EDL,
classes.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. And I was like, can you hear me? I'm speaking normal right now.
Yeah, right.
As good as me, man.
But
Yeah.
it was their way of kind of like, keeping the riots
Gotta
down
keep
at
them
the
separated.
time.
Gotta keep them separated.
At the
As
time.
the Offspring counseled us wisely at the time.
Yeah.
So all the while, again, I had to give you that background
Stupid.
because this wouldn't make sense
No,
to
it's
you
perfect.
otherwise.
Yeah.
So I was during that time I was listening to a lot of like reggaeton and rap and like things that they were like you should be listening to this, and I was like, oh well, I don't want to be like
Yeah, I gotta fit
So you
in.
gotta
I
be
gotta
down.
fit in.
Yeah.
So
So
what was the rap though that you were? What rap did you actually fuck with?
Kanye. I
Which
love
record are we
Kanye.
talking about?
Sorry,
Like, all of them?
all of them actually. Yeah, I was like, dude, but Graduation was the one that did it for me. Scoop de poop.
That's my
Scoop-de-poop,
that is my
poop-de-scoop.
that is my favorite Kanye
Sometimes I
track.
just say that and I'm like, motherfucker's onto something because I'm still smiling about it.
No, that is the whole backstory. Side note, the whole backstory of that song, right?
Yeah, barf. Yeah, done.
Yeah, but
I just don't care. I just don't care.
I'm just saying, it's
I was
like
like, nothing he has is a backstory. There's backstory on like that first album shit to me.
I'm just
That's
saying
real story shit.
the fact that everybody was like,
First 3 albums I fuck with. For
that
sure.
dude's nuts, and I'm
Beautiful
like,
Twisted Fantasy.
yeah,
Oh, beautiful. That is
Yeah.
a great album.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just saying, like, I just love that that's like the most elaborate troll in history, I think, or the most in depth. That it's like you had a song that you were going to like let him use or let Drake use, and then you basically just he said something or pissed you off, so then you just released it early, and then
Yep.
just
I
like.
said, here you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and then ruin it. Scoop de poop. You ruined that fucking
You ruined
track.
that hot ass
Yeah.
beat, man.
Yeah.
With the
Scoop de
de
poop.
poop.
Oh,
It wasn't that
beautiful.
But this is,
Beautiful.
Since you had to, as you always do, since you literally manually opened the entire can and presented the worms, I'm like, it's
what I do.
not that hot of a fucking beat. It
I mean-
is pretty dope to diss Drake just because he's the guy that was on top and, he's a target.
Yeah.
And I don't mean it's cool to diss Drake. I mean, it's like, it's funny that he would go so hard.
Mm-hmm.
I love that aspect because it's like a UFC kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm just like, it wasn't that hot of a beat.
I just love it. I love a solid troll, and that was like a solid
yeah,
troll
no,
for
it's
me.
like, back at you, baby. Yeah,
yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
anyway,
someday we'll have some fucking.
I can respect the
some flow
troll.
like that.
No. Back to that's why I love Kanye. Like this is the whole like this.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
this was
bring it
all
back.
to
Yeah,
say
bring it back.
that Kanye, at least for me at the time, I really respected him and idolized him for whatever reason. And I think actually I know the reason. So everybody knows I love my mama, and Kanye loved his mama too. All right.
Yeah.
So
Blessings.
And that's what he preached, man. He was all about like my mama this, my mama took care of me, I want to take care of my mama, and then he got rich as fuck, and
Can't fuck with that.
then she died, and then
Yeah.
it was like, oh wow, like that sucks, man. You really wanted to take care of your mama, now you're losing your fucking mind. So it's like,
Yeah.
how much of that had to do with, like him losing his mind, like had to do with him losing his mom, the person he wanted to take care of more than anybody.
Yeah.
So for me, at least, like he may be dumb, but like. I'll never discredit somebody who took care of their mama, or that was their prime goal in life.
Yeah.
Like they want to take care of their mom. So
No, not at all. He's just one of those people. I'm just like, it's like my opinion matters so little, but for me, he's like one of those cats who's really on another level. But in a weird way, he's fell off in the way he's kind of bought into certain parts of the broader culture. When I'm just like, he's so standalone good.
yeah.
But it's a personal choice, and he made it, and I definitely can't. It's like, who am I to put on that? I'm
Yeah.
nobody.
Yeah.
Well, I'm somebody.
Hey,
Yeah.
you're Davey.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, I'm packing heat.
You're the glue. You're the glue that holds this couch together. What are you talking about?
I am the marshmallow in this more.
Yes, absolutely.
Can I be the chocolate?
Do the chocolate today. The
Yeah, baby.
Yeah.
All right.
Heck yeah.
So yeah.
Graham cracker, my man.
Oh yes.
Golden graham.
Somebody's got to keep the marshmallow and the chocolate together.
That's
Hell
right.
yeah, baby.
And you got that cohesion. Okay, so
Cohesion.
Some-
back to the
sometimes.
biography.
Oh,
Yes.
but yeah, so
Omar
like
the biopic.
I was listening to a lot of rap, and all the while still listening to rock on the DL. Like these classmates of mine were
Right.
very cruel. So so all that to say
Jesus
is
Christ.
I spent years trying to figure out me, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
As we all do.
After saxophone disappeared, it was like, oh, well, this is what I was doing since I was 7, and now I'm not doing it anymore. I guess I can try this. I guess I can do this. Oh, I guess I'll be influenced by this. Or I guess they're going to tell me what I'm going to do now.
Yeah.
And then like sophomore year, junior year, my little sister was gifted this like little pink first act. It was like maybe this big.
Oh, man.
And my dad had got it for her in, I think, Toys R Us. And I remember just looking at it, and she would never touch it.
Yeah.
But I was looking at it thinking, let me see if I can play some video game songs out of it.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I think one of the first
Right.
songs I learned was the theme song from Metal Gear Solid 4 on the guitar,
Okay.
which was a great game.
Good tune.
And I also learned the Godfather theme.
Yeah.
Those are the two things that I learned when I picked up that first act.
Yeah.
And then from there, I slowly started getting back into music. And the thing that did it, though, this is the best part. I was in Vegas, and being underage, you can't really do much in Vegas other than go to Circus. Maybe there's more stuff now, but like at the time,
probably not though.
No, you'd go to Circus, you'd go to the arcade, and you'd fucking waste your money doing that.
Yeah.
But this particular game had two gifts or two rewards, and one of them was this giant stuffed unicorn, and then it was. Yeah, which again I was gonna take because I was like, you know what, a girl would love this.
Yeah,
you know, I could just like get this and like present it to a girl, be like, baby, I got you this unicorn. Like, you special.
Yeah,
like this unicorn.
Right. The amount of love I have for you is equivalent to the size of this unicorn.
Yes, which is huge. Look how big it is. I can ride this thing. And that was my mentality. I looked at that.
She's gonna love it.
She will love it.
She's gonna love it, of course.
Holy shit. Okay.
But when I won, I wasn't expecting to win. I was on my last start. I just kind of flung it, and I was walking away. And they're like, "We got a winner!" And I turned around, and I was like, "Oh, okay. You know what? Let me get the guitar." And I took the guitar into the hotel, and I figured out how to tune it. There wasn't apps, so like this is before the smartphones and all that. So I was literally just trying to tune it based off of the Godfather theme song that I had learned. So I used that as a reference. Yeah. And I just did that in my hotel.
You weren't even at Caveman Ooga Booga yet.
No,
You were at like 2 levels below that.
2 levels below, exactly.
Yeah.
Wow. And that's where it all started.
Yeah.
Like the guitar thing, at least, or like at least me finding out that writing music and playing music is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Not what I'm, supposed to do or what people tell me I should do.
Yeah.
It's just what I want to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I could have picked that giant fucking unicorn, but I didn't. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
All of our fates lie on but a turn of the wheel, lads.
But a turn of the unicorn.
The next unicorn may be yours, citizens.
Yes.
This warning. The beard has spake.
Yeah. yeah, exactly. Well, that's interesting just because it's like, you could have easily, I found this for myself too. It's like, you look at your past and you see these moments where there's these little forks in the road, and whether they were presented to you as like big opportunities at the time or like relatively small. And inconsequential. Literally a fucking stuffed animal over picking a guitar, which is, you know how I have a tendency to read into things. Like, you're either picking like, I could just pick this and then give it to somebody and hopefully get laid. Because I give somebody a fucking stuffed animal.
Right.
Or I pick this thing that like I'm more passionate about that like I can like actually put more of my time and energy into.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting though, because as you're describing it, I'm like, it's also weird like crossroads metaphor in a sense.
Absolutely is.
Like when you said fork in the road, that kind of hit me like that, and I'm just like, okay, now I'm really seeing it because the difference here is instead of the desire for it all, it also lay on the game of chance itself.
But it's also
it was a game of chance.
Yeah,
so I'm like, holy fuck shit.
Yeah, but also, but also.
I'm sorry, I said like the F word twice. I'm like, hopefully you can bleep
it's
me.
Fine.
Every once in an episode or two, we say we're so sorry how much food.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say
we're done. Fuck it.
We're full of profanity. Our lava lamp turns into a weird phallic symbol every fucking episode, and it's just like there's only so much we can do about it.
That is phallic-y. No, I didn't even.
Yeah, today is more than normal.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some fucking.
Today is more than normal.
I was gonna say I had to address it because it was starting to distract me. It was like, trying to make eye contact with Omar and the lava the lava lamp's really enjoying this story. It's like, why didn't you pick the unicorn?
Why didn't you pick the unicorn? I would have.
Yeah.
So, I look at stuff like that as stuff like that is like not just by happenstance. There's some coincidences, but when it comes to major life stuff, it's like everything happens for a reason, I think.
I believe too.
Yeah, and so whether people do or not, it's either here nor there. It's like everybody's different. But for me, I look at that as clearly like you get that choice. And the same way that I was given a choice of like, hey, you should audition for this class in college that's a performance class, and like I could have almost said no. I like showed up at the last possible second, before I would have been late. Like I got there like exactly when the class started because I was debating about, do I want to do this? Can I do this? You had just more of a moment of like, oh yeah, I'll pick the guitar. That's more interesting, and that led you on this, pursuing your passion and. And also that totally changed your set of life experiences because music became such a huge part of your life that if you were just pursuing that as opposed to just pursuing,
Getting
unicorn.
women, yeah.
All the time. Your life would be dramatically different, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Which at the time, it was very, what's the word? I was very lost. So when you're lost, you tend to look for things that bring you comfort.
Yeah.
So, the old me picking the guitar over the unicorn, I was like, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever, I guess I'll have some fun with this instead.
So where did your path take you? Not necessarily immediately after that, but you pick up a guitar, you're practicing, you're getting into music. Where do you go from there?
Ooh, okay. So this would have been, let's see. Where do I go from there? Well, I went to college for a little bit thinking that's what I wanted to do. You know, like I was going for psychology. So music was still kind of just a hobby at the time, but I was at the time I was inspired from Arcade Fire, and it was Bon Iver, and it was what was that guy's name? Oh, I'm sorry, band's name. It was Mumford and Sons.
Okay.
So those are my big three at the time. So I would listen to a lot of that music, and I would try to emulate it. I'd make a few little things up, but I wasn't taking music seriously.
Right.
I just kind of was like, oh, cool, this is something fun.
Yeah.
So as I was going to college, I was also working this job, dude, that was so I was working 12 hours a day. 12 hours a day,
Yeah.
6 days out of the week.
I know what job it was, but I was going to say.
I'll say
Is
it.
it a job that shall not be named? or
No,
what?
I'll say it.
Well, all right.
Drop it on him, man.
Yeah.
I was packaging food for prisoners.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
Oh, actually, I was thinking of a
That's
different
a fun
job.
Wait,
but
which job are you talking about?
Which job are you?
I was thinking of the big green corporate job.
Oh, Hulu. No,
Yeah.
that was 6 months, actually. But,
Oh,
but they
okay.
weren't too demanding. They just
Yeah.
sucked. Sorry. Oopsie. I mean, they're okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know.
Please sponsor us.
They're a beloved sponsor, but we all have our opinions.
Yeah.
Jesse, what was your question?
Yeah.
What was your question again?
Panic.
Yeah. Well, what was yeah.
A little meditation brought to you by Omar Ruiz.
Yeah.
Okay, so college. Back to college.
Yeah.
Back to
Okay,
college.
You're packaging
No, tell me
food.
about the prisoner food thingy.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, so 12-hour days, dude.
Yeah.
12-hour days. I was working 12-hour days while trying to go to college, while playing music, and still not even realizing that, I'm gravitating more towards music than I am college. But in my head, there was this weird, internal guilt because something was something feels off. You're not doing the right thing. You're not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe this 12-hour fucking day job is what's doing it.
Yeah.
But again, I quit that. I started working at Guitar Center, and I started feeling a little bit better. And then I quit college, and then that really felt better.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
Right.
maybe I just want to play music. And I was like, well, how do you do that? No one ever told me you can do that. Or,
Right.
I don't even believe I can do that.
Right.
That was the biggest thing. I don't even believe I can do that.
Right.
But I just kind of did it anyways. And then, I guess this is where I am. I still work at Guitar Center. I teach now. So
Yeah.
it's I'm still in the thing. And the whole writing thing, I've been in and out of bands. So my big band, the one that I guess poured my heart and soul into, eventually fizzled out, but that's because, a bunch of kids in a band. I was a kid, so it was
Right.
well, this can't go too far when you're a bunch of kids. you know?
Right.
It's
Well-
hard then. Did
well-
you guys put out recordings though? Or?
We did, but I took them down. I was not
Oh, really?
Oh.
yeah, I'm one of those dudes.
Yeah.
I've heard your podcast before, and I was like, oh, yeah, I'm guilty of that. I'm guilty of yeah, man, you know what? I'm no longer proud of this anymore.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Let me
I
just
feel you
take
on
this
In what way
down.
do you feel about that?
I was gonna say I've been in various bands and not just singling one out, but various bands before where it's just I don't know, live videos or some stuff we've recorded and put up, and I was just ugh, it's just so not. And again, everybody starts from somewhere, but it's still just
Totally.
yeah, and not so much of the stuff from when I was a kid that's up, but it's some other projects and stuff where I thought that I have a solid handle on this whole doing a band thing, and then it just still didn't come together right. And just there's I took a cake that was sitting in the oven baking, and I was like, it's good, and it's no, it had another 30 minutes left.
It's soft. It's
No, it was still it was not
Now I gotta
solid.
poop.
No, it was not solid on the inside, and I took it out of the oven early and went, yeah, this is ready, and because I just wanted to get it out there, and it's no, you needed another 2 years in your practice space, working and grinding and rehearsing stuff out so the band could sound solid and cohesive, and then also just do you really want to put out those songs? It's like, is that the best representation of like the band? It's like, is that the statement you want to make? And, you know, anyway, so I get where you're coming from on that. But this is like, you know, part of why I asked you to come in, you know, aside from just wanting to talk to you about stuff, it's like everybody wants to hear the stories about people and hear from people that have like a long list of credits and accomplishments and things like that. But every musician, if you're dedicating yourself into your craft, has a story. And so it's like, and I know your story, just being friends with you, is like a huge amount of like personal growth and all of this because music was a catalyst for that.
Yes.
And so this is the thing of like talking about this stuff is like documenting your experience from like, you're lost, you're not sure who you are, and then you're having this internal struggle, and then now where you're at as a person and your process has changed so much because it's like you are wanting to get better at this thing, and to do that, you not only have to look at your own playing, but yourself as a person.
As a person.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, like, I don't know, how do you feel about like all of that, you know, as far as do you look at like those moments of when you were lost and like, you know, dealing with your own experiences like that to now as like a huge amount of personal growth? Was there like dramatic changes that happened like overnight? Was it just a slow evolution that took like years of time? Like how did that work out for you?
Good question, actually.
Was it a slow overnight evolution?
Yeah, it literally, I became an overnight success. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Just, like one day I didn't play music, and then the next day I was like, oh, I'm Jimi Hendrix now.
Yeah.
Oh, it went like this.
Yeah.
Sorry, along the Watchtower. That one's good.
I picked it up.
You picked it up. Yeah, good to hear, man. You are a guitar player. Fuck.
I started to see. Yep. Okay. Yep.
Well, you started off as drummer, right? And then
Yeah,
bass player?
way long ago. Huh?
Drummer, then bass player?
I guess mostly drummer, then failed pianist, then guitarist, then bass and everything else.
Okay.
And whatever else.
But you would consider yourself a guitar player?
I definitely consider myself a guitar player. I used to be good, and now I'm okay. And I'm definitely, I feel like I could write a fucking decent song the way I play guitar and stuff. That's all that ever mattered to me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Ever since I was little, I was like, the one thing I knew I wanted to do with this shit was write fucking songs. I was like, I legit don't give a fuck what else happens. I remember being like 17, and then I grew up, I was like, oh no, I gotta conform and do all that shit. That's why I spent all my 20s and almost to my 30s doing it. And then once I got sober, I was like, nah, man. I was like, I should really go harder and make this thing more for me. So the arc of your story is not unsimilar to mine, even though I did go to music school and I did teach that whole time. So I've always been working professionally, but I never put in the, you know, it's like you have to take this next step, and there's always a moment that makes you go, oh, I need to do that.
Yeah.
So,
and when that moment happens, it's like, what's the word without sounding too preachy? It's like,
fuck it.
It's like,
that's the word.
Yeah, like,
baby.
yeah, fuck it. It was just like God was like, my son, please look, pay attention to this.
Fucking
what was that? What's
flicked you
that
on the
word? It
head.
was like
Like an epiphany?
Yeah.
More organized epiphany. More.
Ooh, that's a good band
What's the word?
Ska band for sure.
I'm trying to think of the word. There's a very specific word.
Yeah.
Oh man. I was looking at you because I know.
Come on,
Wordsmith. Yeah.
Barney
put me-
Wordsmith, where are you?
Yeah, right. Another word for epiphany?
Yeah, but you know, it was almost like a divine epiphany. It was almost
Revelation.
Revelation. There it is.
Circle, get the square.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
The moment was,
Only
it
go
was
for
it was
Godfrey.
a revelation because it was.
Do you Affleck?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. I love you
Yeah.
guys. You guys
So
are great.
your revelation.
That moment where it was like, oh, this is no longer just a fun thing. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Right.
That moment was like, oh, yeah, the fork in the road.
Right.
That was that moment for me because I had no problem doing the thing when I wasn't focused on doing the thing. Like, if that makes any sense, because I wasn't like worrying about what people liked. I wasn't worrying about how I came off or like whether this was going to be hit or not. It was always just, well, I like how this sounds. Let me put some words that mean something over this to me. And then it quickly shifted to, oh shit, I need to make money off of this.
Right.
That means I have to please people. And then and I mean like for me, pleasing people, being a people pleaser meant, let me just do everything you want.
Right.
and not consider myself at all.
Danger
Right.
zone.
Yes.
That's what happened. I mean, like I like pleasing people. Don't get me wrong. It's just I'll sometimes just to avoid feeling uncomfortable, I will just please, forget
Yeah.
about me.
Yeah.
So
Right.
when that happened, dude,
Does that resonate with you at all?
Does that? Are you feeling something right
okay,
now?
okay. So I relate to this to a certain extent. Yeah, subtle. Does that mean something? Wink, wink, hint, hint. No,
As your psychologist and attorney.
Yeah, right.
I know.
What was that old Bob Hope line from Spies Like Us? Doctor, glad I'm not sick, right? It's like as your doctor and psychologist, it's like, oh boy,
Oh gosh.
no, I relate to that because I've never wanted to make music purely to please other people, but it's always been I want to find people that like what I'm doing. And so that's where it comes in. Like I want to make the music I like, but I want to find everybody who can relate to this and who wants to be involved with this to listen to it, enjoy it, support it, things like that. So it doesn't necessarily when I was like first getting into it, yeah, I think I wanted like everybody to like what I was doing or think I was cool, but now it's more like, I just want to find my group of people in that. The people that, with the art that I'm making, will enjoy this and enjoy the stuff that I'm doing and putting out. So I don't want to change what I'm doing because that's not going to bring in what I want. You know, I don't want to change what I'm doing because of like whatever popular sensibility is, right? But it does put you in a position of like, you want to make what you're doing as polished and as good as you possibly can, for just lack of a better word.
Yeah.
You want to make it as good as possible to where you're happy with it, so that way you can put it out there and hopefully people will respond to it. And also you think about from a business standpoint, there's literally so much of it that it's like you want to separate yourself from what other people are doing. And some of that just comes from naturally like what you're saying and and the fact that you're saying it. So there's already that going for you, that it's like you have your own voice, nobody's going to be able to replicate that. But that's like still, if you're just relying on that, you're only putting in like the minimal amount of effort, right?
Yes.
So you have to look at like, how can I find these people that are going to be into this? Like, what can I do? You know, and that's where that people pleaser thing comes in. And it's
a fine
like,
line.
And it's tricky because these are all the things that, you know, before you build an audience of your own and you have a sort of following, you're sitting there scratching your head every day going like, how am I going to do this? And then you're still working on yourself, right? So you've got your own personal things.
Not anymore.
Well, yeah. No, I figured this shit out. It's like,
I'm cool.
Have it overnight. Overnight, baby.
Well, and that's the thing. Like some people have moments where it's like change your life pretty quickly and rapidly. And then other people, it's like, it's just a slow build and growth of like, oh, this is what I need to be doing, you know? And so you're adding in all of these different factors, right? And then so this is all of the shit where it's like, you look at, you know, I use this reference all the time, and I'm sure people who listen to this podcast regularly may be sick of it, but here we go again.
Let's get it going.
The behind the music analogy of, you look at the breakdown of that episode is like an hour, right? I mean, I know there's commercials and shit, but like anybody who watched that show back in the day, let's just say there's like a documentary hour-long TV thing on this artist, right? You take the first 5 minutes, maybe 10, that's the struggle period of like all that they focus on. And then here is all of the success period. Even if the success was fraught with turmoil, this is the, I've been signed, I started touring, I put out a song on the internet, it blew up, whatever. This is the turning point, right? And then that's the stuff you focus on. And then there's all the ups and downs in that career. But the little 5 minutes at the beginning is what you live in every day. Every day, every minute when you're trying to build a following. And so I'm more interested in these stories now from people that are living it than like stories of hugely successful people, right? So it's like, I want to, and this kind of gets into a little bit of my, you know, modus operandi. I don't even know if that's how you pronounce
Are you
it, but it is
speaking English
now.
right now? What is that?
Watch out, he's getting Latin.
What is that?
This
We
is
have a
sort-
Latin king on the couch, my friend.
Yeah, this is like part
Someone
of.
what's up, Jesse?
Yeah, this is part of what I want to do with like the podcast and the column I write is because talking about this stuff to me is endlessly fascinating, no matter who it is. Because
I think it's helpful.
well, it is helpful, and yeah, so it's like you're going through the stuff that you're going through, dealing with all of this stuff from when you started up until now, and this is all part of your process, and then you get to a point where you're working on yourself from the standpoint of now this is what I do. Like I can't avoid it anymore. This is who I am. Do you feel like it's more difficult in that? Like not just the people pleaser thing, but do you feel like that stress of all that just adds into, does it affect, when you go to sit down and write a song, or does it still flow out of you like it did before?
No, you're absolutely right there. That it doesn't flow out of me anymore. Anymore. And because I'm still working on it right now, actually.
Right.
I went through COVID really messed me up.
Yeah,
like I know
ditto.
a lot of people.
Fucking
a lot of
same.
people. Yeah, I know. A lot of people. There was a lot of people, and I keep saying a lot of people because there was a lot of people. Who
On the whole earth, a lot of people.
A lot of people on the whole earth.
Some people dispute that, and it's fine. Difference of opinion, but I say there's a lot of people.
It's crowded.
In
think
general, on the earth.
Yeah, I was gonna.
On the land, mostly.
And I mean, at least in this last year, there was a lot of people.
Yeah.
And these people, made the best.
What do you mean by these people?
A lot of people. A lot of people.
A lot of people.
A lot of people.
Yeah.
Of course it's an event.
They utilized that time, and I watched them, and I saw them, and I thought,
Yeah.
I should be doing that too.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Why do you say that?
Because, oh, wow, good question. That is a good question. That's not something I thought about too much. Because, again, me working, as a person, we all have not only our professional endeavors to worry about, but, like, even our own personal, spiritual, or,
Right.
Psychological.
Yeah.
And during that time, I had nothing to do. It was the first time in my life where now all of a sudden, everything that was chaotic and busy about my life just stopped.
Yeah.
And I had time for me. And believe it or not, music was a way of checking myself out of things. So, like, I wasn't...
Yeah. Same.
Like, it was so weird. I didn't even realize I was using it for that until I said, oh, do you even want to do this thing? You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing right now. Clearly, you don't want to do it. And I left it alone for several months.
Yeah.
Only to find out that I lost my mind even more.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was like,
You're like, now you get it. I was like,
well,
but
being
hold
older,
on
I'm
a
like, I
second.
remember that bump in the road.
Yep.
I was like, why are you going through that? And then I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
bitch, remember when you were 30? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah. I lost my goddamn mind
Hey, I
for
just
3
turned
years.
30.
There you go.
In December.
That's why
I
you're
just
you're
turned
in it, bro.
29 in April.
There it is.
There it is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because again, at this point, I'm looking at myself and I'm like, I'm 30. What am I doing?
Right.
And I had that big question. And it was like, well, you're not famous. You're not making millions of dollars. You're not
Right.
on the road constantly making lots of money doing that. What are you doing? And then
Yeah.
it was like, oh, shit, let me look at the past. And I kept looking and I kept
Yeah.
looking. And it was like, exactly. So like an entire year of that while trying to, again, still like do the thing was very difficult.
Yeah.
So I made a choice. I was like, all right, we're gonna work on my brain right now.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
And I had nothing but time for it, so I started meditating. I started breathing. Like that's what I started getting into spiritually to kind of like ease the hamster wheel that is the mind.
Oh man.
Totally. It's something I always forget really helps. So good on you for fucking making it a steady thing.
No, I didn't I didn't play at all, but
No, I played. But
from like I
Tell
want
us
to
how much you didn't play.
I,
Naughty
well,
man.
no, I'm
Naughty bassist.
about to. From
Naughty
like
bassist.
April 2020 to like beginning of August, I hardly played. I
That's
like
5 months.
I could probably I was gonna say I probably played like collectively like maybe a couple hours over the course of like 6 months.
Hey, we're no shame
Yeah.
here. No shame here. All
Jeepers,
right?
No, I
No,
was,
but I'm like, more
I
like my heart hurts for you.
no,
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
you're like, I didn't know this. What?
yeah, no, I took like a bass lesson in there, like one or two bass lessons, and like I did things, but like, and I don't know, maybe I don't have a good gauge of like the amount of time, but it definitely was not like, oh man, I went from practicing, like an hour a day or 2 hours a day to like just noodling for a few minutes. It was like, no, like long stretches of time of like you know, basses are gathering dust, just didn't pick it up, just fucking.
I know, I got itchy too. I thought about that. I was like, yeah, my guitar got pretty dusty, and I hadn't done that.
But I was in the same boat. I was in the same boat you are, in the sense of like, I was doing what I was doing because it's like, you know, you're thinking about the pressure of like, you know, I'm putting my life into this. And for me, it's like, I do a couple different things, but they're all creative based things, whether I'm working behind the scenes in like the technical part of it, or like trying to do stuff on my own. It's like, these are all things that are like creative based jobs, right?
Yeah.
And I felt like as a person, if I had a better resume and was accruing more in whatever any of these individual areas, that I was doing well. And it was like, you know, I wasn't really doing well personally, but I was doing well like on paper and like, you know, career wise. It's like, okay, cool, like things are happening, more opportunities are, you know, coming about for me. And then when all of that went away, it's like, I felt like no motivation or desire to get better, because it's like, oh, I'm not going to be able to get together and write a song with the band. I'm not, and yeah, you could do stuff remotely, but we always wrote together in the room, right? I bring in an idea, somebody brings in a chord progression and like a basic set of lyrics, or somebody like, and then we all get together and write it in the room. And that wasn't there anymore. And then I can't book any shows for touring. I'm not going to tour with anybody like working for them. So it's just like, I felt like no motivation to like continue on with that. And I went through the same thing. Well, it's like, do I just not love this?
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's not that at all. Well, and it's not that at all. It's like you had like a whole overflowing closet full of shit that you've been just throwing into it for years. And every time you open it up, you have to like pull the door back and like kick your foot out and like throw something on top of it.
We're living the closet metaphor.
Yeah.
I was gonna say there's a lot of skeletons in there.
It's like the third closet that's been in this podcast.
Yeah, has it? I only just.
I'm on the closet watch. I said I would always be on the closet watch. I told you, dog.
Max threw up a news graphic for that fucking
closet watch.
Closet watch.
Goddamn.
Yeah. Well, it's a minute 37 into the podcast, and we're at number 5 closets.
Number 5 closets.
Yeah. Skycam 5
such
is watching
a image, though.
Yeah.
You've got to admit, people really understand it.
Skycam 5 is watching the closet metaphor piling up over here.
Pile up.
I was gonna say, we were all kids at one point. We all shoved shit in our closet.
Oh, right. But it took me everything shutting down to realize.
My mom would not let me push it away sideways in the closet.
Yeah. Oh,
no,
okay.
You had a good mama. No offense to my mama. I love my mama.
I had a good mama, and she was about them clean rooms, and now I'm weird about a clean room. Right now it's been wrecked because I'm working 2 jobs, and I'm like, every time I come home, I'm almost like, I can't even look at my room. I close the door like something's happening in there.
Yeah.
Like people were boning in my room. I'm just like, it's just messy, and I'm just like, I can't even look at you, you whore.
Yeah. You whore.
I hate it. I hate it so much. I hate my messy room.
Here.
I learned from when I was little, because the Tonka trucks had to be like lined up, and then the shoes had to be on the shoe rack and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
That will mess with you.
Little tyke football, I had to have all the toys put away and shit. And
that's good.
And she'd come and be like, why did you put the fucking Duplos in with Masters of the Universe? You won't find the thing you're needing. And I was like, you're right. So
hey, it's a good life skill,
it's why I'm
though.
so into details in a way that I think is overall pretty positive. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I refuse to write it down or make a note or do a chart. So I'd
Yeah.
be like, fine, I'll remember next time.
You sound like me.
Stamp it on my brain.
Yeah,
I'm like,
right.
and I never remember.
My brain hurts.
Yeah. Well,
That's me, though.
right. But so I
So
went.
you please people.
Yeah.
And I do, too.
And you
Yeah.
were motivated for a while.
Well,
And now
right.
you're
because,
not.
You were
well,
feeling
are
the
you
pleasure.
now?
No, I am now,
You were
for sure.
anhedonous.
Yeah.
Anhedonious? The lacking of pleasure?
Okay.
Anhedonia?
Yeah. Well, and I went through like, because I literally worked the day that everything got shut down, in the sense of like, I remember it like it was a thing, because it was like I showed up to work, all of the stuff on the theater I work at, like all the stuff that morning got canceled. Like there was a children's show that still happened that morning, like a big field trip show, and so it was like, it was ominous. It was like the last gig, like ooh,
Bless the little children.
yeah. And then we were talking about what we were gonna do, and I was like, oh man, like I'm gonna like have time to work out. I'm just gonna. Same thing. I was already getting into meditating, had already done it. Like, oh, I'm going to be like meditate all day, workout, practice. I'm not going to worry about shit. Like, that was like, I literally said that out loud. And then a month into it, I'm like, why the fuck? I have all this time. Why haven't I been doing any of this? And I just realized, oh, it's me. It's like, I'm the reason why all this stuff isn't happening. And then after that, it was like, oh, well, all right. It's like, I would look at my basses and go, yeah, I get to it, and then just like try to think about something else because it was all this weird, just pent up shit that just like you don't deal with about anxieties about things, like whatever else, right?
Because when you're busy, you're on the go,
well,
man. You don't have time.
Well, right, and
Let me tell you, that's the truth.
Yeah, and the key thing with all of this is like, this is something that I would just realized at the beginning of this year. I was using all of these different things to push away like loss of like family members, like personal shit, like all sorts of other stuff of like the busier I was and focusing on these things, it gave me a reason not to delve into myself. And it's like, okay, now that you're aware of this, it's like you can't change any of this stuff, but it's just about like letting that go, and you will be a better musician, player, person for dealing with this stuff and then approaching your instrument. And it's like, doesn't mean that you won't still be like a little fucked up. That's fine. It's like, as long as you understand where you're coming from and you can use that to put it back into your process, and like you'll have a way. For me, like I play a lot. When I play, I'm way more clear-headed now than when I was before, because like I'm just not, it's not like I have all of this internal stuff like I did before going on in like my head. And so like it probably sounds like you deal with a lot of the same shit.
Yeah, I think too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my problem for a long time.
Yeah.
And I wasn't paying attention to that. I wasn't
Yeah.
paying attention to the fact that I think too much.
Yeah.
So I wasn't realizing what I was saying to myself, the things I was, the unconscious chatter that was going on.
Right.
And then, so when I put the guitar down, I was like, well, I guess I'll just try to sit there and listen.
Yeah.
And then I guess what I'm trying to say is that really helped.
Yeah.
I spent the
yeah.
first couple of months trying to be super busy, trying to do this, trying to do that. Like I made like 6 songs with my brother-in-law.
Baked
and
12 loaves of banana bread.
yeah, 12 loaves.
Did you really?
No, I said he did. I didn't bake
Oh,
shit.
no, I made like 6 songs, dude. I just never released them. And I just, exactly. I know, that's the thing. To me, there was something wrong with me. I was like, why am I not proud of what I'm doing?
Release the Omar tapes, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Hashtag get it trending citizens. Release the Omar tapes. We want 6 new songs.
We want 6 new songs. Well, I went over to David's. I was showing him a few things. So it's like,
we're getting there.
I'm getting back. It's just, it was...
David Hodrick, member of the Roundtable edition
you,
of the podcast.
Yeah.
Never forget.
Yes.
Nothing better than a Hodrick.
Yeah.
Nothing is
Would you
better
say that
than
on camera
Hodrick.
and admit it to the
No.
world? Yeah, I didn't
No.
think
Nothing
so.
is better than Hodrick.
Their
I mean-
relationship is so taut with a weird
I mean,
sexual tension.
I mean,
Quasi-sexual. I don't really know if it's sexual,
I mean-
but it's quasi for sure.
I mean, it's fine. It's fine that he,
It's fine that people like him and he's great.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's fine that he's
You know,
shit.
it's like
It's fine that
no,
he's the
it's,
shit.
It
I
doesn't make you feel weird about
no,
it.
it's something I tolerate, and it's just it's just I get through it.
Okay.
You just tolerate, man.
Tolerate.
Everyone loves my daddy. I mean, my baby, my bubby.
Whoa,
Sorry.
wow.
Yeah, I love him too.
We have an equally complex relationship in opposite directions.
This is
Yeah.
I've witnessed it.
He's
many times.
if it's the theater masks, he's the comedy, and I'm the
Oh,
drama.
cry now,
Yeah.
smile later.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I want
Yes.
to put the little dreads on the smile now and then the long blondie on the set.
yeah,
on the
yeah,
side.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
I
exactly.
want to get that tattooed on me.
But
I
I
feel
want
like
it.
in celebration of you guys.
Yeah.
Because you're both my friends, but together you're like something for the world.
Right, right.
It's like Laurel and Hardy.
Yeah, there you go. There
The
you go.
update.
Yeah.
Remix. Okay.
Yeah, but-
no, I'm going to tell you all about my life real quick.
Please.
This is how I get down. If you
Please.
haven't,
No,
if you
I
haven't
love
watched,
it.
then this is
I
how
have. I watched it last
I
episode.
bring my Puerto Ricanism and I just interrupt and I say, hey, check it out.
Yeah.
So I agree with everything, but it was like in verse for me because here.
Yeah.
Because my mom died in 2019, kind of unexpectedly, so I started doing a bunch of things to distract myself, including go back to school.
Right.
Then we're in the pandemic. Then I still got to finish. I do my recital. I get my degree. I get a new job. I'm writing songs. And the whole time, nothing feels right. And so I go on a trip with my family to take my nephew to his new college in Kentucky. And the day that I got back was the day that I hopped on the Zoom with you and Hodrick, actually. That was in August. So we were all fucked up because it was like the first time I had like literally 2 weeks where I had nothing to do. It was the downtime
man.
between old job and new job. School was done. All the interactions had closed down, you know.
Yeah.
Even the gigs I'd had up through July, now August was just dead because by then people were like, no.
Yeah.
And I
Right.
had such a fucking breakdown, like not a meltdown. I was
I
like,
had a breakdown.
we
Yeah.
we were, I think for like maybe 20 solid hours, I was just sobbing in the back of my dad's truck.
Oh, yeah.
And I couldn't even explain to anybody why. I was like, I was feeling like I was dying. I felt so
I felt
fucking
that.
horrible.
Yeah.
And I knew it wasn't just like anything like my grief or anything like that. It felt like whatever it was like something, a function of holding it in, and also not knowing about that background chatter, and not knowing how much something I was not doing or taking care of myself or something underlying was fucking with me.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just trying to be more careful about it. Yeah. I couldn't just bring it up right now.
Oh,
no,
well,
I'm
yeah.
glad that you said that. Actually, that was the thing that kind of set me spiraling. My sister died 6 years ago.
I realized, yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, what have I been doing these last 6 years?
Right.
And because you think about their memory and you think, oh, what would they be doing right now?
Right.
Clearly not what I'm doing right now.
Right.
You know?
I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
Well, these are and these are all things that, like, at a certain point you realize the personal informs. I don't want to say the professional, because it does, but it's like, because that almost sounds like it's a job and it's a separate category. But a passion. That's
And
the
intrudes
yes.
on it.
well, yeah, I don't know.
In
No,
a sense.
the personal informs and can intrude on the passion, right? And so all of this stuff that you're going through, at a certain point you realize they're one and the same. And so in a way that's great, because when you're a songwriter, then it's like you're putting yourself into what you're doing, and people will feel that and respond to it and resonate with it. So the negative side of that is that sometimes this stuff could be great material for songwriting and what you're creating, but it's like you still have to live with that all the time. And so that's why it's like it's all this stuff that you're trying to manage. And it also doesn't help when you get. Do you remember if there was a moment where you shifted into like, this is what I want to do, as far as like there was a year or
yeah, exactly, year. I gave myself till 30.
yeah, okay, but from when? From when though? Like
I know. I was I think when
When's
I
your
first
birthday?
December 20th.
Oh, you're running out of time, my man.
Oh, I'm 30 already.
Oh, shit.
That's why I smiled
Your
at
goose
the
is
camera.
cooked.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
That's why
Okay.
I was like,
What?
So that's why I had been freaking out
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
last couple of years, because it was like, hold on a second. Wait, didn't you say by 30, if you hadn't figured this out, you'd do something else, or and I'm like, oh crap, it's getting to that time. Fuck, when I say something, I tend to follow what I say. Oh, and this this anxiety just covered me like a blanket, and it's just so heavy.
Yeah.
It was like, wow.
I feel like this is a new, like, masculine, like, rite of passage or era of, like, that's when you cross the threshold, because I, like, looking back on it now, I turned 40 this year.
Hey!
And 30 legit was, like, I know, like, 30 is the beginning of your adulthood, like, no matter what anybody, like, no
I
matter where
believe
you're
that
from or what
too.
you've been
Right.
through, like, don't let anybody tell you different. Like, everything you did in your 20s, you probably deserves a reset. And if you were going hard, like, 100% on everything in life, then you probably still deserve and are needing some sort of fucking reset.
Right.
That's just the stage that your brain is at, like that every 7 years thing or whatever. You know what I mean?
Hey, I read that.
Right, it's just some
every
neurology
7
shit.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Your brain goes, whoop.
Right. No, and I went through that when it was a forced reset. And so I'm glad that I did, because now that approaching all of this stuff, I'm by no means like fixed or perfect or whatever, but it's, well, I don't know about that. But it's something to where it's like, I don't know, I have the groundwork laid out for like building what I want to build, and I'm not nervous about turning 30 or age or any of that kind of stuff, because it's like, if you're doing what you love to do and you're pursuing it and you're passionate about it, it's like there's a reason why it's like there's certain people that we all respect that are sort of ageless and timeless, and it's like, people that grew old with what they were doing. And it's like, you can all look at artists like that, or people like authors and writers who identify like that, and they defied that whole paradigm of like aging in the bubble you should fit into. And it's getting over hurdles like that. It's like, okay, well, you're doing this. How am I going to continue to do this and pursue this and get better at it? And if you keep, wanting to answer that challenge and that question, then that keeps you ageless, with whatever you're doing. And I met people like, one of my favorite songwriters is Joe Fletcher, who I want to have on this podcast.
That would be sick.
Yeah, and he, I did sound for him when he came through out here, and since sort of became colleagual friends with him.
The roster of your contacts and deep personal friendships continue, my man.
Yeah,
Yes.
and so he wants to come on here when he has like a new album to put out and like music and stuff. So
Promotions.
yeah, and so like with him, his story I don't have down 100%, but I asked him like, a little bit about his background, and he was an English teacher for a long time, and I think gave that up to pursue music. And it's like, because that's what he wanted to do. So imagine that. Imagine if you had a solid teaching career, right? Like, obviously as a teacher, it's like, it's not like you're going to be rolling in money, but it's like you make a paycheck, you can pay your bills, relatively speaking, and, you have sort of a comfort level, right? And I'm sure being an English teacher, that's something that having also a penchant for songwriting, he wanted to do. It's like it relates sort of in that way.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for him, but just using that sort of career
It makes
path.
sense.
Yeah, using
Yeah.
that career path as an example.
Yeah,
You have a job like that, and then you leave it to pursue songwriting and being a musician. It's like, that's a huge leap, and it's not being done at an age where it's like, I'm just 18 or 19 and I'm just going for this. So imagine just being at a certain point in your life, you're already established and you're supposed to be going in one direction, and then you totally jump ship and go in a completely different direction. Whereas somebody like you has just sort of like had one foot in the water, one foot out, and you're kind of like figuring yourself out. And that way it's like, then you just decide to jump. Well, yeah. And
I'm
so
playing
it's
in
like,
a puddle right
that's
now.
a water dance for
That's a
sure.
water
yeah,
dance.
but like, there's not one set way that you can go about doing this. And it's like, and nowadays there have been people that have found their success in their 40s and 50s and 60s. Like Sharon Jones is a great example of that, where it's like, imagine if she never was able to put out any of that stuff, like, and it never came to fruition. That would be such a loss to everybody. And you know what? There's some people,
Yeah.
No,
you're 100%. Like when you think about people who have popped off lately, like, not that I don't want to put people on blast with their ages, but a lot of like, people who have come out in the last couple of years and gotten really popular are not super young, not 20 something, not 25
No.
and under. If
No.
you look at the tape, like, because the fact of the matter is that's not as relevant anymore as it was.
No.
I think a lot of what we're talking about, I think a lot of the anxiety that hits us around 30, especially as males, is part of like the cultural bubble that we're stuck under.
Yeah.
Where we're all supposed to only covet our youth.
Yeah.
Like that's like the currency. When the fact of the matter is, it's like, I'm like, when I think back on everything was building from my youth to be the person I am now. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
There's no exception, even no matter how anybody else looks at it. Like, my experience tells me, like, no, because the only times I'm enjoying are the times I'm living in now, in the recent past and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It took the development, and I'm like, and our society poo-poos that.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's like, if you're not like Justin Bieber, if you're not popping off at 15, then obviously you don't have much to say.
Right.
It drives me
won't ever
insane.
make
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Well,
exactly. Yeah.
But there also is the dichotomy of people, like you said. There's more and more examples, especially living with the internet for as long as we have now, of people that find their success so much later in life. And I say success as in popularity.
Yeah,
and building
cultural
an audience.
phenomenon.
yes.
Like,
Yeah.
like Ruth Bader Ginsburg is a perfect example, bro. It's like, obviously she's a historically and like on a level, she stands alone as far as like a person who is important historically to our country.
Right.
But her cultural like relevance to the like youth and stuff on the internet took a big spike because people realized like
Yeah.
how important she was.
Yeah.
That was, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. I feel like is that kind of what you meant?
Yeah, well, I like how you went there with your reference, and as you were saying that, and it was hitting my ear, I went, oh, like Bob Ross too, 'cause that's where my brain goes.
200%.
Yeah,
my
but
boy
it's
loves
also
Bob Ross.
it's like a guy who's, I don't know how old he was when.
He's a vampire. He never died, right?
Well, yeah, no. Neither
I
did
will
those.
find you, Bob Ross.
Neither did
you're
those
out there.
squirrels either. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
this little squirrel.
Say hello to my little buddy over here.
here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but like he's somebody that it's like if you look at his age and just who he is, it's like it's sort of an anomaly for like why it's become so popular with like younger people. Younger people in like, their 20s and their 30s, early 30s, like around my age, where it's just like for some reason Bob Ross really took, and for me too, I went through a pretty heavy Bob Ross phase because for me, I just, not to go off on a Ross tangent
No,
or
please,
anything,
let's talk about
but
the Ross.
it's like it was an example of somebody that, for one, there wasn't a comment section. So they didn't care about what people thought about. We weren't going, oh, look at this old fucker painting, left by fucking troll boy, LOL, fuckface, just
69.
like, yeah.
Your boy Troy.
Yeah, it's like Mr. Big Boy 69 is like, oh, look at this old guy, or
These colors don't run.
Yeah,
1885,
yeah.
I don't see a squirrel.
Well, yeah.
Dark heart underscore.
Right. Yeah.
Incel.
Yeah. And it's like
done.
he was just did what he did as far as like you can tell that, he enjoyed what he was doing. And it was like he was also like kind of a nut. And I also enjoyed that about it in that like he's like painting with squirrels on his shoulder and like he's just like, oh, this is my favorite part when you beat the devil out of the paintbrush. And it's like, oh, he's got some demons in his head.
Oh, he's got some demons.
And it's like, but it's also just like people just resonate with the fact that he's just this guy who just liked painting and was like relaxing and was just doing his own thing and was like a weird, interesting personality type doing these things. And so there's an avenue for like, I resonate with this. It's like, this is not something I'm normally into, but I like what this guy's about. And the same thing with the Ruth Bader Ginsburg thing to an extent. It's like, this is something where this is an older person that has experience with fighting for civil rights and equality and is just saying things that other people don't say. And it's just something that, I don't know, it just the same, and I would say the same reason why people love Betty White and like, it's like America's grandma, it's like it all fits into these same things. John Witherspoon, like watching him, like his Rogan podcast he did a year before he died, it had me fucking crying laughing with just just him living and breathing and just being like making noises and shit will have you fucking
eating up all the food.
Yeah.
Oh, just that alone.
Yeah, and it's like we resonate with stuff like that because it's authentic, and I think in summing all of that up, it takes a while for you to be like Miles Davis said. It takes a long time for you to be able to play like yourself, and that applies to so many fucking avenues of life. And again, it's like you learn these things through the practicing and like the music stuff because the craft informs all of this other stuff about your person, and then your person informs these things, and it's like this figure eight infinity like loop that if you're really digging into it, not just playing your instrument like, oh, I'm just whatever, like when you cross that threshold of like, I'm digging into this shit, it's like, hold on to your butts. It's like you're gonna put yourself through the fucking ringer whether you know it or not. Like, I can't wait to be at the point where like anybody in a college environment wants to hear me speak about anything and I have any sort of actual wisdom to impart, so I could just be like, you are going to learn more about yourself than you ever will like reading fucking self-help books, taking fucking life seminars from somebody. It's just like you will end up opening up this huge can of worms and go down this rabbit hole of self-examination that will just like from 2015 to 2020 was that. Like 2015 was the year I was like, I'm not going to come up with some sort of alternate backup plan. I'm just going to work in a creative field as hard as I fucking can and then just see what happens out of it. And that was the shift I made mentally. And that was great. And then it took 2020 where I had to take a step back and look at myself and go like, okay, like, you did that, now you have to actually take care of yourself, and then when you do that, you can go back to this and it will be better, and you'll have a way more solid foundation for doing it. Absolutely. And so it's that thing of like, I didn't know that. Nobody talks about that it's like you are gonna like dive into your brain and your soul and your mind way more than you ever would otherwise. And it's just that's just how it is. I don't know if
that's I think that you're speaking on a very real, a very truthful part of the human experience. But I don't know if it's like a conclusive or universal part of the human experience.
No,
because a lot of people go through most of their lives just kind of.
No,
I feel like that's what the DMT in our brain is for when we die. Like, not to be like a dick. Like I think that it's like it's for everyone to get a significant realization that helps you cross that threshold.
Yes.
In some way, be it an image, be it just the sense of like, whatever pain you were enduring suddenly disappears while you go. I think that's literally a part of it. And I think that some people are reaching towards that ideal while they live.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I think at a certain point, some people, there's a difference between stupidity and being dumb and being ignorant, right? And I'm not calling anybody.
Well, you call me all these things, so I'm just like, you never explained.
Sometimes
called me worse.
Sometimes everything melds into the perfect package.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, kind of complimentary too.
Yeah. You were so unique.
I'm on board now.
You were so unique at all of these things.
Yeah, I'm stupid, dumb, and ignorant.
Yeah, forever chasing the comet. Hat drop.
Chasing it. Streaming.
Yes. No, it's like sometimes you can be totally intelligent and go about things in a stupid way, right? And that could come about for being stubborn about things, not wanting to dive into yourself. Sometimes it's just like, and then I would look at like, if you're going about things in a dumb manner, then it's like you might not know any better about this. And then you have that realization, you go, oh, like I need to start shifting my perspective. And then sometimes you might not even be aware of you have no concept of any of this information or any of these ideas that we're talking about. And you have to be shown this, or somebody has to explain these things to you, or you go through something that you have these realizations and you start thinking about these things. But at a certain point, something gets the gears turning that overcomes any of these traits and characteristics or avenues. And then it's like, it's up to you at that point of like, once you're kind of awake and you're thinking about these things.
Hashtag woke.
Yeah, hashtag woke. You have to decide, it's like, well, am I going to correct these things, or am I just happy with living with the way things are? And if you are, that's great. But for me, there's the gnawing feeling in the back of your brain of like, you know that you could be doing better. You know that there's always, ways that you could be expanding your consciousness, expanding your perspective. And it's like, if you don't, and you don't have to do it all at once, but if you don't make a little effort to chip away at that every day and add to that, then it's like, then what are you doing? And obviously you need to give yourself time to like, process things. You need to give yourself time to work on these things. But it's like, also you just know that like you have work to do and there's more to learn and there's more experience to be gained, and it's like, you can't just, you're not going to put it on a shelf and go, oh, I'm good, I'm done with that. It's
I'm done with life. Yeah,
no,
I've done it.
Yeah,
Well, I've done it, but
yeah. Anyway,
I tend to check myself after an hour or two and be like, wait.
Well, I mean, I think, again, your experiences will, again, train you. So at that point, you're like, okay, I put it on the shelf. All right, I left that there for a year. Let me come back to it. Okay, I left it there for 6 months. Okay, let me come back to it. Okay, I'm leaving it there for 1 month. And little by little, you're like, oh, why do I keep doing this thing? Why am I shelving all this? Maybe let's take it off the shelf now. Let's stop wasting time, And
right.
And that's
yeah.
I think that's where I'm at now. I'm like, okay, well, not okay, because that gives the illusion that I still have the same anxious energy I had before, where I thought I was wasting my time.
Right.
But now I think, you know what? What am I trying to do? Am I having fun with this? Yeah.
It's funny, even when I know it's part of my process in a positive, constructive way, I relate to it with an anxiety.
Yeah. Like, you get that, right?
Well, my brain pops out of nowhere. Like, I got home from school today, I'm teaching, and that's great. And I get home and I'm grumping around. I'm like, I need more coffee. Gotta get ready for the podcast. All right. And then I was. Speaking of which, I was like, yeah, let's reveal.
Yeah.
And then, wait, what were we talking about, though?
The anxiety.
Anxious
The anxiety.
energy.
And so out of nowhere, thank you. Out of nowhere, I was just like, shit, man, you haven't worked on the new songs in a while, and you have that session booked with Max and the guys on June 15th or some shit. I was like, you got lyrics for like one song, and you wrote 10 songs of music. What, you're going to do something, right?
See,
like, that's what my brain said. And I was just like, hey, homie, let's go smoke. Let's go
yeah.
figure it out, all right? Let's smoke. Let's hit the drums for a minute. Let's listen to some fucking comedy podcast and chill the fuck out.
Right.
And let the lyrics come when they come. Let the lyrics come when they come, because it was never a problem. It's never a problem, really. And that's the thing that I have a hard time acknowledging, is that it always comes whenever I need it.
Right.
That's what makes it magical, because it doesn't feel like I said it or did it. It just shows up, and I'm like, damn, I kind of think that should work. And then when I listen later, I'm like, I'm actually on board. I'm actually totally fine with that.
Yeah, and there's different tools in the toolbox, right? It's like, if you were a songwriter where your job was to like show up somewhere and write, for a deadline.
Yeah. When you said job, I was like, oh, hold on.
Right.
I saw the credence.
No,
I was like, oh god.
There are people in the world that are
anxiety.
Anxiety, but there are people in the world that are equally creative, to where it's like, through the nature of what they do, it's like deadlines they have to meet and just everything else, and the kind of songwriting they're doing. They're writing music and other lyrics and pieces of stuff or whatever, scoring things, that it's like they show up same time, 9 o'clock, they get done, like 5 or 6, maybe they work longer, who knows, but it's like you're working in that professional environment where you're creating something, and they have to do that. I think for something like with creating original music that's on your own schedule, it's like sometimes it's beneficial to just go like not force things to happen. Everybody's process is different. Sometimes people need to be that disciplined same time every day.
It's the opposite of what I once did. I used to
Yeah.
write like a regime. Like I could show you. Like I have full like 12-song album demos. Like I wrote full reggae album, bro. I wrote a ska song, they all
Nice.
horn arrangements. I was like, I did that in 2017 or 18.
Well, release the Davey
no,
tapes.
just-
What are you talking
Hey,
about?
I
Turn
wanna
it
see the
around
tapes.
towards
I
I
you.
shelved it because I was like, you know what? That ain't me though.
Yep.
You know, it's like some of it was, but I was like,
Oh.
you know what? I was like, I can't, and it wasn't like I didn't actually like the songs. I was just like, I don't want to represent myself publicly as a person consigned to a genre in my songs, in my original stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would have to shop this to somebody, and they're too weird to be shoppable. They're not that good.
Yeah.
You know, but they came from the heart. But it was a realization that I was like, oh, I needed to discover that. I don't like the idea came, and then I pursued it, and then I discovered I like a lot of the material, but I was just like, I don't really want to put out a record like that.
Yeah,
and
fair
it
enough.
never weighed on me, and I never felt like anything. Like I regret many things. If you ever say no regrets, citizens, you're gonna change your mind eventually. 'Cause
Right.
life is all regrets, except for a few couple things that you're like, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I just went ahead with that.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where I'm like, I'm glad I do what I do in
Yeah.
that regard.
That's
So-
good. I like that
You
one.
know?
Life is full of regrets. Just there are
Isn't
moments where you don't, where you feel happy, and it's like that's what you should gravitate to.
Yeah.
God dang it.
Because most of life is gonna suck. So at least why not enjoy the moments that they don't?
I mean,
suck?
don't tell Jesse. I don't know if he. All the time
you
he's
can
been
handle
friends, I don't know if he kept it that real with him.
Yeah. Wait.
He thinks he's gonna get the guitar and the unicorn.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I'm focusing.
And you know what? If anyone's gonna,
It's gonna be
if
Jesse.
anyone deserves it.
Jesse.
No,
It's you.
I'm putting the. I was gonna say. Okay. This is actually.
Okay, come on, go.
This
Turn the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This will be a good question. I don't know where we're gonna go with this, but like for me, I've came to the realization that it's like I describe it as the cost of admission. That's the metaphor I use, right?
Ooh, I like that.
When you're younger, it doesn't cost a lot to participate in all of this life stuff, and especially as a musician, it doesn't cost a lot to participate in it. Especially if you're in high school, it's practically
It's free.
All your time
well,
is free.
yeah,
bitch.
okay.
Yeah.
Aside
So
from like,
true.
I understand.
Oh my God,
I,
remember?
yeah,
I remember.
I understand. Like, not everybody can afford gear. You got to find an instrument. All of that. I'm not talking about the literal monetary aspect of everything's free. I'm talking about the fact of when you're younger and in high school, time is very abundant, and so it's
And
a matter
your
of
first
like.
bit of real autonomy for
Well,
most people too. So
well, right.
imagine getting the chance to apply it.
Yeah,
and have all of
it doesn't.
that time.
It doesn't take a lot to devote hours and hours and hours and hours to practicing and to writing and to playing in a band and for some people touring. It's like it doesn't take a lot to do that. So you enter your 20s and your college years, let's just call it that, like that sort of career building years, cost of admission goes up a little bit because you got to start thinking about what you're doing, right? So you got to, am I going to school? Am I getting a job? Am I getting, am I in a relationship that's going to potentially lead to marriage and kids and all that? And lots
breaking
of
up bands.
Yeah, lots of unicorns.
Whoa.
So, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That was at
Uh-oh.
nobody actually.
There wasn't any personal. There wasn't any personal beef attached to that at all.
Attached at all. Okay.
So-
Go on.
So yeah, like, so, right? It's like, and as you're going through your 20s, it's like, okay, it might be going up a little bit. You hit the point where you're getting into your 30s. Now it's like, okay, cost of admission is
This is like a
getting
roller coaster.
yeah, it is kind of. It's getting steep, right? It's like,
Uh-oh.
and what I mean by that, the cost of admission is the amount of time you have to put into what you're doing and pay attention to what's going on and stay connected into all of this stuff and not just kind of go into some sort of old fogey category of like, I remember when music was music and all of that kind of vibe is like, that's like no admission to get to that point, right? But if you want to keep evolving and keep expanding, then it's like, it costs a lot to do that at this point. And so it's like, you have to look at how you're prioritizing your time. You have to look at like, where is this going to go? There's this level of seriousness of like, if I'm going to do this, there can't be any bullshit attached to this. It's like, I have to do it a certain way. I have to put like, I don't know, put some sort of standard on it in some way, shape or form. Like whether that's a personal standard of like, I'm not putting this out here because I don't feel comfortable with it. This isn't good enough. Or I'm not going to play these kinds of gigs anymore. I want to like do other things. It's like, I'm not going to play for 4 hours for $50 anymore.
Hey,
It's like,
there you
no,
go. No.
sorry. It's like, those days are over with. It's like, you have to put these standards on yourself, right? So it's just, all of this adds up to like, you know, in order to do this, it requires more sacrifice, right?
Absolutely.
So now we're at the point where I ask everybody something. Now
There
that
it
we've
is.
set this
There
up.
it is. No, I think I know where you're going with this.
My cost of admission now is I'm giving up unicorn for the time being. I'm not seeking it out. I'm not like, man, I wish I had a unicorn right now. It's like, no, unicorn's going in fucking public storage, and I'm solely focusing on the guitar. It's like using the two comparisons from earlier,
I get
right?
that.
I am totally putting all of my effort into this and not even giving, and trying not to, it's difficult, but like not even giving the unicorn side of my brain like any of my mental energy that I can avoid.
I like that.
Because
man. I love that.
if I'm worried about when am I gonna find a unicorn that's really gonna like me, and it's just, you know, like any of that bullshit, or when is this gonna happen? And then it's just like, fuck all that shit. I gotta put that aside and just focus on this. And I was curious, is there anything that you're giving up that's on the unicorn side of things, or like sacrifice as far as what's your cost of admission? I'd be curious what yours is.
Ooh, okay. So there was, yeah. How do I word this? Because I had, like, when you said that, I felt that. I was like, oh, I know what I gave up.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to find, like, I guess the most poetic way of saying it.
Yeah, go for it.
I'm trying. I'm not very good with words, but it's funny because I'm a writer. I should be good with words, right?
You're good with the edit.
Hey, exactly. Why don't you give me time with it, okay? Like, yeah, give me some time with
First
it.
draft. Why don't you fuck off?
Yeah.
What I am sacrificing is whether I care if people like me or not.
That's a big one.
That
For a people pleaser especially.
exactly.
Right.
You get it.
Oh yeah, I'm in the Reformed Church of the people pleasers.
Hey,
so
hallelujah,
that's why I'm
gay
always
man.
like, I get such a like thrill out of being like, fuck you guys for watching us. Good night. Like,
Yeah.
because the old me still cringes on the inside a little bit. That like super sensitive kid that wanted everybody to
Yes.
accept him, and he was like, but you're different, or why's your mom black? Like all this weird shit always comes up. So I'm just like, you know what? Fuck the world.
No.
And see, you know what I used to get? I used to get, what? Why don't you speak any English? You're white. What are you,
Yeah.
a
Oh,
white-sican?
man.
Are you a white-sican? I'm like, a white-sican?
That's so
White
fucking
again?
Are you
stupid.
serious? So, like, for years, I got harassed by both sides. So it was like, yeah. Then I had to teach myself, like, how to win the sides over.
Yeah.
And that
You
translated
develop
to...
other things that don't involve being fully connected to your culture. Has been my experience. I don't think that's universal, but I know that for a lot of people in the mixed heritage kind of community, I feel like that's, you know, I have a lot of people in my life who are there, and I'm like, it seems to be the case. It's like you develop other things, you know, like your artistic abilities or your scholastic abilities.
Right.
You always try to make it something that's character based at the end of the day because you've never felt like people could accept what they saw.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Which is always the way I think that we should all, I mean, that's where we're gravitating now, I think. And I think that the young people are driving us that way, and I'm glad they're doing it.
I love them. I love everything. So, like, my favorite thing that I like...
He's on record.
I know, I need to
This
say
30-year-old
this.
man loves young people.
I teach them!
Omar, cancel
No!
I love
Cancel
him too.
Omar!
We'll
Cancel
never-
Omar 2020!
Cancel me before you cancel him because he's the best. I deserve it. He's the best.
That's when
It was a
that's,
slip of the tongue.
that's when the camera crew comes out of this room from
Right,
behind
we
us.
go.
FBI,
Camera-
stop!
Yeah. Why don't you take a seat? Right over here.
Why don't you take a seat? No.
Why are you doing
I love what I'm seeing right now because again, I teach a lot of old people and I also teach a lot of young people, but like the young people that are coming in will come in wearing like an anime shirt, like expressing their love for anime. And I remember, hey, I love anime. And
Thank you for making it cool to like anime.
I was so upset growing up, just not being accepted. Oh, you like anime? You like cartoons? Oh, you're this, you're that, you're this. And then now when I look at kids, all of them are wearing anime shirts. All of them look weird. All of them don't really care about what's going on. Even though on the inside, they're probably anxious as shit. Probably thinking like, do people like me? The same stuff that we worried about.
Bullshit.
But they also, like I'm generalizing, but a lot of them seem to feel more comfortable like going to somebody to talk to about it, which was like, I don't know. Maybe that was something that was a factor in your guys' growing up, but being just slightly at the edge of the millennial spectrum, I'm like, it was just that end of the era where it was like, you don't really go full force talking about your feelings all the time. Like, we always said we loved each other, but my mom was like, I mean, what kind of shit are you going through? Is it bad? And then she would just like, she'd start like shivering with fright, and I'd be like, I better hold this shit in because my mom is more important than how I feel.
I think,
Absolutely.
You know,
I feel that.
I don't know, like, I think I'm technically Gen Y or whatever. I don't know. I don't really put much stock into that shit.
Y?
I was born in
1990.
I was in 92. What-
you're a millennial.
Yeah.
You're a millennial.
You're a
The difference
millennial?
is I'm a millennial just on the motherfucking cusp.
No, I thought I was
I'm a exennial is like what they do in the nomenclature because I'm on a cusp year. I'm born in 1981.
Yeah.
And 82 to 2000 is your millennials.
Oh, okay.
And everything
I
up
see.
to 20, well, they're still kind of deciding, but probably next year or two will be Generation Z.
TikTok, something. I don't
TikTok.
know.
TikTok and you don't
Generation.
stop. No, they're Generation Z, and then the next one after that will obviously be Alpha. They've already kind of decided. In
Alpha?
I think that's
cool.
what.
Who the
Wait,
fuck
hold on,
decides
hold
these
on.
things? Who
I
the
mean,
fuck?
it's things that are kind of
can
they
we
become
change?
common
Can we vote?
parlance in like journal articles from like economic institutions, anthropological like
These are the same
societies at
people that
different
come up with
universities.
today's National Hamburger Day.
Academia decides this. Long story short.
These are the
That
same.
sucks.
I mean, I guess it sucks. It's the same people who came up with like the race bubbles, and you know how much we love those.
Oh, I love them.
I just write in Puerto Rican.
These are the same bullshit.
Figure that out.
I literally say
Figure that out.
I don't want to specify. All right,
Yeah.
you don't even get that.
No, I've always marked 2 or more, and then I was like, and then after I grew up, I felt dumb because I was like, I'm Latino. I was like, people say we're not 2 or more, and then I was like, you know what? I don't know. And then we got the 23andMe, and I was like, I get to go back to that 2 and more bubble. Fuck
That's
my
right.
face. All right. Yeah, feels like I won something.
Yeah. We've always won something.
You're a winner
Your
in my
heart
heart.
I was about to say
my
that.
Ah, and then the audience.
So-
Eventually.
Yes. So
Some of them are not into me.
Hey,
But you know what? I get it. I'm like fish sauce.
What?
I'm piquant. I'm spicy. I'm tangy.
I would go a step further and say you're like a salted shrimp sauce. Just a
and I'm loving that.
very
Hey, I liked
flavorful,
it.
but just
I'm
with
a-
just a hint of bug spray.
Just oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I leave that like, I mostly liked it in your mouth.
Yeah.
felt
Absolutely.
I think
I
all
like
of my
it.
former paramours would say much the same.
Yeah. Well,
I made it sexual.
yeah.
I made it sexual.
That went
So-
over my head. I was
Yeah.
like, what? Hold on.
Let's pause for station identification.
No, I was just gonna say
Is
that.
it time to make him do stuff for us or what? Or you got more questions?
No, I was gonna say it is that time.
It is
So
that
if-
time.
If we
You
want
gotta
to start,
do it.
You got to
slow-
sang for your supper.
Yeah.
Sang for my supper?
Yeah, you don't just get to be on the internets and plug your stuff without singing a doodle.
Yeah.
for us.
So I was going to say, you are actually the first musical performance that we will have on this podcast.
Confetti.
Yeah.
This is a big deal.
Heart,
Yeah.
eyes,
Feel an honor.
emoji.
Yeah. So before you sing for your supper, as Davey illustriously put it, do
And
you
as Jesse adroitly noticed.
yeah, greatly noticed. Do you have anything else that you want to, I don't know, wrap up what we've talked about with? Like, anything you want to plug? Just, Jerry's final
Where
thought.
can we find music that you've done, though?
Yeah.
Do I have to come to a live show? Because I'm gonna.
As
but-
of right now, yeah, actually, unfortunately. So, like, I guess what I want to wrap up, I guess, is actually about that. I think for as long as I've been doing a thing, it's either somebody, like, wanted to hear me play, and I'd release something, and then be like, you know what? That's not how I want to present myself anymore, so I'd take it down. So I've done that a lot. But I can change that. That's what I'm saying. I need to put my links back up, is what I'm saying. Because, I mean, they're still out there. If you go on my SoundCloud, you can go to Omar.Ruiz, and that will take you to an old album I made, I think maybe 2 years ago.
Well, it's going in the description.
We're going to SoundCloud. We're gonna we'll find a hyperlink, right? We can throw that in there.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it super simple for you to go to that SoundCloud and listen to the real.
Yeah, it's the name of the album was Good Luck Exploring the Infinite Abyss. And
And if you don't think we all want to listen to something titled that, you're crazy.
I just had to
Young
say,
man.
I was like, I just wanted to say that it came from one of my favorite movies at the time. No longer my favorite movie after revisiting it as an adult. I'm like, wow, that movie was really stupid. Fuck.
Wait,
Jesse,
it's from a movie?
Yeah.
Jesse, you just made Michael Shannon face trying to think of it.
It is from a movie.
There's a storm coming!
Get it,
Fucking
boy.
Covered in fish.
Covered in fish.
Yeah. No, that's from a movie?
It was from
I thought that was, but that was on a fucking bathroom stall that we were in
You know
Texas.
what? Actually, that was me. I wrote that.
I fucking wrote that.
I wrote that.
Oh.
And then we went to what was it? Armadillo, Texas. Was it Armadillo? I keep saying Armadillo.
Bury a story and lead on the story this late in the game.
We went to the
guys.
Cadillac Ranch.
Yes.
Yeah,
What?
Yeah.
We went to the Cadillac Ranch, and I
Where?
spray painted it on one of the big Cadillacs, which I have.
Yeah.
This
Is
is
it
an
on?
upfront story. This is towards the intro type of story, just for next time.
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta show this to you
Yeah.
so you can see what I'm talking
Hey.
about.
Yeah,
So this-
show it to the camera.
okay, come on, stupid. Let's just get rid of these notifications. Come on, dude.
Sponsored by Verizon.
I got Mint Mobile.
Omar.
There it is.
There we go.
I don't know if a ghost. I don't know if a guest has ever gotten that close to
No, turn. You gotta hit your phone.
Hold on, hold
It
on.
went black.
There it is. See?
Yeah.
That's what I did on a car.
Oh yeah, good luck explaining the infinite abyss.
Yeah.
Oh, this is
I was
from
gonna
Garden
say you could have
State.
just sent us a picture.
My man!
Good luck
Yeah.
explaining the
There it
infinite abyss.
You too!
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's make out.
Well,
This song is gonna change your life.
we ended on an M. Night
many times have I
Shyamalan.
watched that?
Yeah.
I
we
watched it a million times,
I watched
too.
it several thousand times.
Well, we ended on an M. Night Shyamalan plot twist of I thought
Fucking
random
A, we
bathroom
did.
graffiti that you found was actually coming from you. It
Yeah.
was a line from a movie. Who
Yep.
knew?
I know.
Well, all right.
I fucking blew his mind.
I'm done.
Yeah, enough of my yakking, enough of your yakking. I want to hear you
Yes.
play. So thank you so much, Omar, for coming in. And
The Omar Ruiz.
yeah, you're welcome back here anytime,
Oh,
sir.
please invite me more often. I like talking
Yeah.
about fuck dumb shit.
Yep.
Fuck dumb shit.
Yep.
Fuck dumb shit.
Next roundtable.
Yeah, that's hot, actually. That's super hot. I'm actually just not even gonna say anything. I will hold for the light, mesmerized by the sight. Don't you dare call me blind before these feelings subside. No one called me for months while I froze in the sun. Nothing is how it seems. Be polite, never dream. Some people pray for the night, while others sleep all their lives, comatose and waiting for light. Roll your stone, clear my eyes, and I wonder again, and I wonder again, and I wonder again, and I wonder again.
And so now we fade in from performance and Max Taylor's graphic and musical transition, and we're back on the couch. Oh, how about that?
Whoa.
This is
Doodly-doo.
yeah. This is
Right.
NPR with Back on the Couch.
Oh,
Yeah,
Back on the Couch.
the show about not just who sits on the couch, but why they sit on the couch.
In this show, we don't rap the gavel. We just lovingly scrape it against
That's
the plate.
ASMR for free. Some people put a whole YouTube channel together for
Right.
that.
Some people are paying for that in an app somewhere. So
Somewhere.
you're welcome.
Yeah, a little snippet of that for free. So,
Hey.
wrap things up. Again, thank you so much, Omar, for coming in and playing. Thank you, Davey, for being my illustrious co-host, as always, and for I being your illustrious co-host. It
Wouldn't have it any other way.
is a team effort, sir. Thank you, too, Max Taylor, for putting these episodes together and making us look so... Oh, we got a thumb in there!
He's getting, I told you.
Yeah.
Episode by episode.
Yeah.
Start creeping in.
Yeah, yeah.
Silent killer.
Eventually, we'll be to the point where we have that producer cam where it's like, can you pull that up, Max? And
Oh,
then
and
it's
it's
just
gotta go
like,
in and out like Wayne's World, though.
yeah, absolutely. So, thank you so much, citizens. As always, like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends if you like what we're doing. And if you want anybody to be on this podcast, shoot us a DM. Let us know who you want to see on here. So, thank you so much, and we shall see you next week.
If God wills it to be.
Sonic City Council was created by Jesse Davidson and Davey Sipes and engineered by Max Taylor at Desert Sound Studio in Palmdale, California. Thank you to Disaster Cabinet for the outro music. Intro music written by Max Taylor. Sonic City Council is produced in association with AMPS Music Academy and the Showcase Venue. For more information, visit theshowcasevenue.com.